So we left off with Lance about the genomics, and Al, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about.
So we were talking about pathways and the way that if you're focused on one area of nutrient uptake, nutrient cycling, when you've really got to think about the other nutrients, and there's also pathways that are just as important. That comes down to an efficiency factor. We're looking at are we able to efficiently use a fall applied DAP or a fall applied potash application. If these workers aren't there, obviously that's what causes these efficiency factors to become very, very low. And you're looking at averages now of phosphorus solubilization happening over a 2 or 3 year period on the application of DAP or MAP. So what I want to focus on is, are the workers there to actually solubilize those nutrients, and do we need them? If we do put them down, we need to put them down in an efficient form. That's why I like liquid forms of nutrients, because then you have a form that's readily available. If you get the guys there in the soil in the form of biology, they can actually utilize that nutrient and cycle that nutrient through the plant, then you're going to have a really high efficiency. You'll see, well, one of the phosphorus forms I like is orthophos, and you have a lot higher absorption ability of the biology to do that. So if you mix that with the organisms that actually cycle that nutrient, then you really have a much better efficiency with a lot lower cost and a lot lower amount of that particular nutrient. Another thing I didn't mention up there that the genomics test is really instrumental in providing is looking at pathogens. So we not only see the beneficial pathways when looking at nutrient cycling, how carbon cycled, also, hormone production, exopolysaccharide production, other essential pieces of building soil structure. We can also see why we have high levels of disease risk with genomics testing. So you can take a soil sample in October and see what the levels of Pythium are in the soil, and whether or not you should be aware of that coming whatever you're going to plant next spring, and be ready for that as the next season comes on. So this whole level of genomics testing and working with ReGen has been so instrumental in helping us do that, because now we can take the data from the Haney test, which Lance so greatly explained to us, the total nutrient test, and we now can take this genomics profile of the same soil sample, combine that together, and give us a really good, solid observation point, and help us with better practices.
These are tools that farmers really haven't had access to over the years, and now is beginning to make a whole lot more sense to them, especially when they're looking to increase ROI,
right.
Efficiency of what they're putting on and what they're doing, and hopefully they see it in the yield that comes out in the crop.
Exactly. The whole goal here is to get a better return on investment. Lance said it. We can cut back on all these heavy inputs. We've got enough out there now. We've been doing this a long time, to where if we could have a better understanding, but we don't want to just stop, right? We got to be able to have good, I would say, data sets to help us make better, solid decisions. I would a lot rather tell a farmer that you're not going to hit 300 bushels. You're going to hit 260, but your inputs are going to be a third of what they were when you were hitting 300.
Yeah, and even with your genomics that you teach us about, if the farmer even does any of them, he's going to begin to benefit his entire farming system. But you've got many of them that go in furrow or on the seed or even foliar, right?
That's right. So we want to target that. We want to make sure that when we look at this data set, you don't need nitrogen. Your nitrogen's fine. It's working great. Your pathway's open. You just need to supplement that with some good available nitrogen forms. What you really need to focus on here is your carbon pathway. We're not cycling carbon. You're not building organic matter. You're not making the factory work good. We got to get more, as Lance called it, currency into the system. Mm-hmm. And that's the role water extractable organic carbon offers. When you look at the total carbon, well then, you're not going to be able to feed off of that. Those bugs don't like to chew on that. They'd rather chew on the softer, more carbohydrate-rich form of carbon. So these are this is the kind of advice we want to give farmers. Say, this is what you got. You've got a great potential here. Let's help subsidize that with the right kind of, I would say, dollar spend. Instead of spending it over here on all these excessive inputs, let's focus it on what we can do to actually help get a better performance.
And that's where Lance works with you to really zone in on
Yes.
specialized testing to find that out.
Yeah.
It's great. This should do it.